You guys, some of you obviously already know Hernan very well, and maybe there's a handful of you on here who aren't familiar with who Hernan Lawless is. And so, after I give you a proper introduction, you're probably all going to grab your phones and start texting your other teammates because you're not going to want people to miss this, folks. Hernan literally has about a 45-year track record in the networking business. He's been an entrepreneur in and out of networking. And man, he's literally one of the most dedicated servant leaders. Watching the way Hernan leads his team really kind of continues to raise the bar, like it does with a lot of the leaders in our community. We've been so blessed, and it's kind of a treat tonight to have Hernan here leading us on Taproot Tuesday. And so you guys are going to want to have something to take notes with. I mean, again, Hernan has walked the walk for 4 decades, over 4 decades. And so I imagine there's going to be several nuggets of wisdom that we can each glean from how Hernan has made it to the top of previous company comp plans. He's built massive organizations into the tens of thousands of people. And so again, this is kind of a privilege for sure, a blessing for each of us. And so Hernan, thank you for being willing to sow into all of us tonight. It is recording, and I am fired up to get to learn from one of the best, man. So take it away.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks. So just briefly, I want to touch on a few things that might help you guys a little. A big part of being successful is actually having a vision for what it is you do and where you're going to go. And then to lockstep, fall in love with the idea and actually have a picture in your mind's eye of what that's going to look like when you get to where you want to go. So just kind of skirt around the edges, not going to go through a big, presentation, just kind of touch on a few things and just get your motor working a little bit. So let me share my screen. And let me move this video panel. Okay, so what I want to touch on is the invitation. How do you invite? How do you get people to say, yeah, I really want to look at this thing and actually have them show up? Building strategy for how to get that done and how to build. Finding square pegs to put in in square holes, not round. You can't put a square peg in a round hole. It won't fit. Don't do that. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then your team vision. In other words, can you share your vision with your team? People will follow you if you have a vision. They'll buy into your vision and run with you side by side. They'll grab arms with one another and run with you to accomplish your vision, whatever that might be. It's hard for people to follow you if you don't have.
White says just out.
Very, very, very important. And then, team build with leverage. So many people, they don't really understand what it takes to build this. And so because they don't have that picture, they give up or they never even really try. So the sole reason people quit is they're not good at getting people's time and attention. If you're really good at getting people's time and attention to sit down and watch Ryan or myself or Al or Alan or one of the leaders go through a Ovoria Prime overview, if you're good at that, man, sky's the limit, and really the people that really struggle with that and they have a difficult time getting people in front of me or getting people in front of Ryan to hear the story, to go through the overview, they really never, ever really succeed in the business. It's just real simple, How good can you get at doing that? That's something that you by practicing The more you practice, the more you do it, the better you get. So, so let's go over that a little bit, inviting people to an Avoria Prime overview. You really want to take a sincere interest in people. Invest your time and energy in people that you know. You know, share with them, you know, talk to them in a way that they understand that you truly care about them and their future. And if you can do that, if you can successfully get that across or have them feel that in your conversation, they're going to be more open to what you have to say. You know, always, you know, how do you do that, right? I mean, how do you really start the conversation? Well, it's different for everybody, and it's not a canned thing. I can't give you a script. I mean, there's no script. It just depends on how I feel at the time, you know. Shoot, there's been times where I was so nervous because of the person that I was going to get on the phone with. I might have had a heck of a hit list of, you know, 5 professionals back to back that have made $250,000 a month each, you know, and I might have been so nervous that the only thing I could do is like go grab a Red Bull or something and drink a Red Bull, so I'd be fired up, you know, go for it, you know. So you just, it's interesting, but you know, find out how they're doing, find out what they've been doing, what they're up to, find out how the family is. I mean, you guys know how to do this. You do this all the time. You know what's really crazy is I have a lot of friends that I just call on a regular basis just to check in and say hi. And those of you that have been in the industry before, this is how you keep your list warm, and that's by just staying in touch. I have friends who've been in the industry for 25, 30 years, and some of them call me every single week. Keith Hooper's one of them. Calls me. He's been in one company for 25 years. He calls me every single week and just to talk about the weather. And I'm not kidding. Every time Keith calls, he says, "Hey, how's the weather there in Idaho?" You know, and he'll crack a joke about the weather, whatever. But that's the way he starts the conversation. Every week he calls me, and he's been doing that for 15 years, and we're good friends. Crazy. So, but do that. You know, talk to them about their work. How's work going? You know, maybe if you know they're on a rotating shift, what shift you're on, and then get into the idea or the conversation of, you know, are they thinking about retiring? Are they going to stick with it? And do they have a pension? Maybe get into that, you know, like, do you see yourself retiring from that place? You know, how's that going? How many more years do you have to work until you can retire? So the whole time you're talking and you're asking questions and they're talking to you, if you're having the correct conversation and asking the right questions, and if they're engaging with you, then they're going to frame your invitation to look at the overview. They'll actually frame it for you if the conversation goes well. So, you know, maybe ask, you know, what does your future look like to you? You know, you've been working for 10 years at this place, and I know your wife's working, and, you know, have you guys talked about sending the kids to college? You know, whatever. Just start a conversation and allow them to frame your invitation. If the conversation doesn't go in a direction where they're allowing you to frame it, where they're framing it for you, and if they're going to give you an opening where it's going to make it really slick, it'll fit in real well, go for it. If the conversation actually doesn't go there, you might think about passing and then maybe get into a conversation the following week. You want it to be right. You want it to be more or less kind of their idea, not so much your idea, because they have to have value in it. They've got to see the value in your invite, or they may not attend. Or they may say, well, you know, I'm busy that night, whatever. So here's my 2 qualifying questions. These are my favorite 2 questions. And when I meet somebody for the first time, if I'm going to get to know them, these are the first 2 questions that I ask. What did you do to make money as a kid? What did you do to make money as a kid? And how old were you? So from that answer I get, from those 2 questions, I know whether or not I want to invest in them. And as far as the business is concerned, so to speak, if I'm looking to add people to my prospect list, I'll ask those questions. And if they come back with the right answer, then yes, that's somebody that I want to build a relationship with and I want to connect with on a regular basis. That's somebody that I want on my team. And we're going to get a little bit into that in a little bit. What that is. What is it that you're looking for? So they may hesitate, out, tell you they didn't work as a kid. That's happened a lot, okay? Where you ask the question, you know, what did you do to make money as a kid? And then, well, you know, I never had to make any money as a kid. Well, didn't you use Kool-Aid or deliver papers or, and they'll say, no, I never had to do any of that. And then I'll ask the question, I'll say, well, so did you have an allowance or how'd you get by when you were a kid? What if you wanted to go to the movies or whatever? Then they say, oh, you know, I just asked my mom and dad and they give me the money, whatever. Or some will just flat out tell you, I just didn't work as a kid. And they might not want to get into the conversation, but at least that tells you a little bit about who they are. So now you will know when you connect with someone because they will frame the overview for you. If you're connecting properly, they'll say something that'll open it up. Like if you're getting into a conversation where you're talking about their work and how much more time they have at their work before they can retire, they might come back and say to you something like, man, I still have another 20 years to put in. Because I have to put in 40 years to pull a big enough pension out where I can be comfortable in my later years. And that's crazy. I can't, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it another 20 years. Well, there you go. That's your invitation to invite them to the overview. So really, basically, I guess you could say you're waiting for them to invite you, right? To allow them into the overview presentation. So they might say, geez, we've got 3 kids that we really want to send to college, but we're living paycheck to paycheck, and I just don't see how we're going to get that done. And then there it is. There's your invitation to invite them to the overview. So that's where you need to go with the conversation with them. So you need to be, and you know what? You're not going to be really good at this in the beginning, or you might be, but the more you do it, then the more in tune you'll be with it, and you'll know what to look for, and you'll understand what to say or where to take the conversation in order to get them to ask you for the invitation. So think about that. I mean, it can happen a number of different ways. Maybe they're tired of driving 2 hours, spending 2 hours on the road, every day, an hour to work, an hour back. Some people in LA drive for an hour and a half or 2 hours each way. So they're gone from the house for, 12 hours, 14 hours a day, especially if they hit traffic. They might say to you, man, this driving every day is killing me. I got to find something else to do. Or like I said, maybe they just need some extra money. So this is where you're going with the conversation. If the conversation feels awkward and you feel like they don't really want to converse with you, because that happens sometimes. Some people are not friendly, so to speak, or maybe not open, or maybe they're having a bad day. You don't really know what's going on in their life. Maybe they had a bad day at work or something, and you're just not feeling it. Then pass. Tell them, say, hey, look, I'd love to continue the conversation, but I really got to run right now. I'll call you back next week, and we'll talk a little bit more. You only want to get a yes. You don't want a no. I don't agree with counting no's. I don't like that, because I don't know about you, but I don't like getting a no. And if I get no's, if I make 5 phone calls and I get 5 no's, I'm bummed. I'm packing it. So that's it for me. I'm done. I'm cooked. Put a fork in me. I can't do that. And you know what? I guarantee you 9 out of 10 people can't put up with that either. If you're counting no's, you're not really painting a very good picture for yourself, your vision that you're bought into, that you've fallen in love with is no's. I mean, come on, that's not cool. So you really want to ask yes questions. You want to get a yes answer. And you only want to ask for things you can get. And that's why if it doesn't feel right and you feel like if you ask them to look at the overview and you're not going to get a yes, pass. Tell them, say, hey, we'll continue the conversation later. I got to run. Take care. And you're out. Remember, square pegs do not fit in round holes. Don't, if the conversation is not quite going well, don't take that peg and try to beat it into the hole. It's not going to fit. Just move on. Because all that does is it takes your energy away. So you want to set yourself up to succeed by understanding what it takes to get a yes. So even before you pick up the phone, you want to have the right mindset where you understand, you might think about where the conversation is going to go. You know that person, and you know whether or not you've talked to them recently or it's been a long time. So, write down some bullet points on how you want the conversation to go. Have that down there on paper as a reference. So you're not choking during the conversation. You have kind of a flow to it. You know where you want to go. If you need to catch up with them because you haven't talked to them for a long time, write out like an outline of where you want to go with that conversation. Remember, if you don't feel like you can get a yes at that particular time, don't. Just have the conversation, reconnect, connect, say hi, just make it a pleasant visit, and next. And you know what? You may, if somebody that you have on your list that you want to introduce this to, you may want to set up 2 or 3 calls over maybe a month's period of time. Don't go diving in all in just like that. You may have to kind of catch up over a time and then ask for what you can get, which is a yes. That's what you want, the yes. So only 1 out of 100 people can enter the game of counting no's. I mean, think about it, guys. Don't beat yourself up, okay? If you're getting no's and you don't know why, then reach out to your upline. Call me, call Ryan, call Al, call Alan, call somebody and talk to them and get their help. Reach out. Don't tell yourself it's okay to fail. That's not good. That's not gonna paint a pretty picture. That's not going to be a pretty vision. That's not going to be something that you can fall in love with and be excited about. So here's what happens. If you do invite them to the overview and they cancel, then you want to schedule another overview while they're on the phone at the same time they've canceled, because now they owe you. They're calling, they're saying, hey, something's come up, I can't make it. Say, great, no worries, no problem. How about let's schedule you for next week on Monday or Tuesday at this time or that time. Make sure that have it on your calendar when the overviews are, so that you can go right to your calendar and give them 2 options. Tell them, okay, that's fine, no problem. I'll plug you into another one, and give them a couple options. If they're a no-show, call them immediately after and book another one. Book them again if they're a no-show, all right? Because a lot of times it wasn't intentional. They got busy in the kitchen cooking, or they had to run an errand or do something for somebody else, for one of their kids or something, and they lost track of time. So they owe you. So just at that time, because they said yes initially. So you don't want to let them go. You want to hang on to that yes. And then, so immediately when they're a no-show, you call them, say, hey, no worries, I can plug you in to another overview. So this is a game of leverage, guys. You can't build this business without a team. You have to have a team. It's all about leverage. The whole thing is about leverage. So what stops people from getting started is the vision of building a team. So, you know, a lot of people can't vision building a team. For whatever reason, people think that they have to do it all themselves, you know. They don't really understand leverage, so to speak. And so in order to get to where they need to be financially with the team building, they have to have so many people on their team. So when they see they have to have 35 people on their team, if they don't really understand leverage, they're thinking they have to enroll 35 people. And don't assume that they know better. Assume that they don't know better. And make sure they understand that. Make sure that people understand that they only need to share this with 3 people. 12 people to make $600 a month. Okay? So what they're thinking in their head is they're thinking, oh, I don't know 12 people. That's what they're thinking. It's 12 plus themselves. They're thinking, man, I don't know 12 people. I can't do this. This is impossible. And you know what the crazy thing is, even after they enroll in a program like this, and they're told how to use leverage to team build and get where they want, build to the point where they need to be to earn the amount of money they want to make, they're still thinking that they have to do all the work. Some people can never really understand this idea of leverage. So you need to know 3 people who worked to make money as a kid. So think about that. It's interesting, but check it out. Try it. Just ask a few people that you know in conversation. What did you do as a kid to make money? And you know what? If they're a go-getter, they were a go-getter when they were very young. Believe me. If they didn't start working till they were 26 or 27 or 28 years old, and they never really had to worry about money, they may not be a go-getter. I mean, it's pretty. I mean, if you if you pre-qualify people, the people that you're going to invite to be your builders on your team by asking them that question, what did you do when you were a kid to make money? And at what age were you? You know, it's going to, then now you're enrolling people that are actually going to do the work, because there's no secret to this. There's no secret. You know, Robin and I ran around like crazy people for 20 years, you know, go to every workshop, every meeting, fly here, fly there, do this, do that, and talk to this leader, talk to that leader, ask these questions, ask those questions. I mean, it was crazy. Robin would write the questions down and I would run up to the front. She would run after me and I would ask, what's the next question, Rob? What's the next one? What's the next one? Because we were looking for the secret of how to be successful in this industry. And you know, in all my years, I never got the answer. There is no secret. You just do the work. And I didn't realize that. All that time, we're looking for the secret, looking for the answer. What is it? It's doing the work. It's making the phone calls, making the invites, it's following up, it's doing all these things. And then it goes even deeper than that. We're going to get into that in just a minute. So I'll give you an idea how it might go. So your first enrollment, you know, you ask them to introduce you to people they know. And then they introduce you to one person. So that person comes in. And then you ask this person, because now you know this person because they introduced you to their friend. So now you don't rely on this person, on the person that you enrolled to ask them. You ask them. You come down here and you ask them, who do you know? Introduce me to people you know. Who do you know? And they may or may not introduce you to people they know. Okay? More times than not, unless you're really good at, because go-getters know go-getters, connectors know connectors, people who know people, people who like people, know people who like people. So if you start off with your enrollment of a real go-getter, then the chances of them knowing a go-getter are great. And so this may not happen where they don't introduce you to people they know, okay? So this is where it would end up. And now you would have a total of 2 on your team, your personal enrollment and their personal enrollment. Then your second enrollment, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to ask them to introduce you to people they know so that you can invite them to the overview, all right? Then one of the 3 introduce you to people they know. The other 2 don't. Only one does. So that's, now you have 2 down here, and the same thing. Who do they know? You don't rely on this person and you don't rely on this person here that invited these people to ask the question, who do you know? Introduce me to people you know so that we can invite them to the overview so they can look and see what we're doing. So now these 2 people here, you ask them both. So you're going around this person asking them, and then you're going around this person and asking them directly, because now they're your friends. You want to make sure that you know who they are and that you've been connected with them. And so at this point, neither one of these 2 are going to introduce you to anybody they know. So there's a total of 8 people on your team at this point. So it's 2 from your first enrollment, and then plus 6 from your second enrollment. And then your third enrollment, you know, they're not feeling it, or they don't know anybody. You hear that all the time. They've been on the planet for 50 years, they don't know anybody. Okay, no worries. So what do? Now you've got plus 1. So now you have 9 on your team. So what do? You go and introduce it to a new person. And so again, you ask your new enrollee, who do they know? And then they introduce it to one person, and then you go around and you ask them, who do you know? And then you go down here, when they've enrolled one person, you ask them, who do you know that we can introduce us to? And then they'll introduce one person, and then you ask them, who do you know? Now, this person here at the bottom, they're not interested in sharing the opportunity or the software. So that's where it ends. It doesn't go any further. So you've gone 4 levels deep, or 3 levels underneath this person. So the total people on your team now is 13. You got 2 plus 6 plus 1 plus 4. And that's kind of how it goes, but you always want to be going down. So the way this looks is you're utilizing their contacts and people they know to build your team. Your team doesn't consist of all the people you know. Your team consists of the people they know, and 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 you drive that thing deep. And you drive it deep as far as you can take it. Because what happens is the second person or the first person that you enroll there may come back and introduce you to more people because they want to get their 3. So now I need a volunteer. Let me open this thing up.
Right here, man. I'll volunteer.
Okay, all right. So who is this? Matthew?
Yes, sir. Matty Ice here.
All right, Matty. So Matty, ask me the question. Ask me, what did I do for money when I was a kid?
All right, Hernan. So it's been a pleasure to talk with you. I'm curious to know, what did you do for money when you were a kid?
Okay. So, Matty, I started going door to door when I was 10 years old. I sold greeting cards, cookies, newspapers. I mowed lawns and pulled weeds. And I sold Kool-Aid for $1 a glass in 1963. Okay.
Wow.
I had 3, I made, the old Sparklets bottles, they were glass, real heavy, and I would fill it with water and make 5 gallons of Kool-Aid, put it in my wagon, and then enlist my friends to help me, promise them that we'll go to Thrifty Drug for ice cream after we sold the Kool-Aid. And they would push me up the hill to where the earth movers were grading the land to build housing tracts. And it was on 100 degrees, it was 100 degrees outside. And they were just like dying of thirst. They were paying me $1 a glass. Some of them would give me more. And so then at 14, I got a job mopping floors and cleaning a pizza kitchen. And I worked from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. every night, 5 nights a week. And then later on, I got a job working at a gas station during the day. So I did both. And at the same time, I'm doing other things at the same time. I've always done more than one thing at a time. And when I turned 18, I got a job at the glass factory in town. And in my off hours, I was knocking on doors, resurfacing driveways. But I've always done more than one thing, always. And when I was 18, I was introduced to my first network marketing company. And I actually went door to door for that. It was a water filter business. It was a Bondell bacteriostatic water filter. And I went door to door hooking up water filters because I knew that if I left it for 3 days and came back, they were going to buy it, right? Well, it didn't quite work that way. What happened was they never answered the door and I lost the water filter. So believe me, if you ask people in conversation what they did for money as a kid, and they rattle off this kind of thing, this is who you want on your team. Believe me, okay? A go-getter's a go-getter. So let me bring up this whiteboard real quick. Thanks, Maddie, for asking the question.
Yes, sir. You're very welcome.
Okay, give me a minute here, guys. I'm going to open this up. Okay, so remember now the way I'm going to paint a picture for you guys to kind of help this kind of sink in, this idea of using leverage, of utilizing leverage to build. So what you're going to do is, when you enroll somebody, you want to make sure that they introduce you to the people they know. And when they do that, you're going to do the same thing with their friend, is you're going to ask them to introduce you to people they know again. And then these people are going to introduce you to the people they know. And then this person introduces you to the people they know. And this person introduces you to the people they know. And so you want to drive it deep that way, okay? Now, yeah, you know, really everybody needs to have their 3, right? If you're a customer, you need your 3 so that you can get the software for free. And if you're an affiliate, you need your 3 so that you'll make your $40 a week and it'll pay for your subscription. If you want to move to the levels, then of course the next level, you're going to need 12 people, 4 in each one of 3 legs, in order to make $150 a week. So what happens here is the volume flows up. And these people on your team, they can see what you're doing and they get excited. This creates excitement. They know, they start talking to one another and they know, they're saying, hey, Hernan's going for it. He's driving this thing. And now I have 3 people underneath me. Holy cow, I need to get another person involved. So then they call you and they say, hey, I want to introduce you to somebody I know. We need to get them on an overview. So what this does is this builds belief that they can do it with your help. They know that they're going to get the support they need. It's not just talk. I'm not just talking. I'm doing the work. I'm driving that sucker down deep. So whatever I need to do to make that happen. So what happens here is people wake up. So this one wakes up and he says, hey, I want to introduce you to somebody I know. And then this person says, hey, I've got somebody else I want to introduce you to. Oh, I need to get my 3. So I've got 5 people I want to introduce you to, and that person ends up getting their 3. So you don't want to bug people. You don't want to push people away from you. If you're too, out there beating them up all the time, on the phone all the time, demanding that they introduce you to the people they know, they're gonna lose interest. They're gonna back away from you. You don't want to do that. Just go deep. Now, let's say you can't drive it deep like this and generate the interest that you need to generate. Then you go enroll in second person, and then you do it again. Same thing. Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? And then it lights a fire, and who do you know? And who do you know? Right? And they're all going through the overview. They're getting involved. They're getting the software. They're seeing what you're doing. They decide they want to become an affiliate, and now they're introducing their friends to you. Same thing again. So you want to work this until you get to a point where it slows up and people are no longer introducing you. For whatever reason, things just don't work out. Maybe they're all busy. Maybe it's during the holidays, whatever. Just go get another person and then go do it again. And you know what? It might stop right here. Maybe you can't get any farther than this, and they're not introducing you to anybody, and they're not introducing you to anybody. Okay, go get another person. Don't beat people up. Stay in touch with them, but go get another person and then drive it down deep again, right? Remember, you're not building this thing. You're utilizing their contacts to build team. So you're working with them, helping them to successfully hit their goal. And at the same time, you're hitting your goal. Again, go at it again, all right? And do this. So I sponsored 16 people, right? And I have 3 legs, right? And it took me sponsoring 16 people so that I had enough people to work with so that I could drive it down deep. And remember, this doesn't look like this, actually. Remember? Because you only have to enroll 3 people. You only have 3 legs. So when you enroll this person here, you're going to enroll them and put them here or put them here. It's nice to reward people that are working with you. And so if you do enroll a 4th person, you might think about rewarding somebody on your team who's actually doing the work. So let me get out of here. Let's see, how do I do this? Let me go here. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. Let me stop the screen share. I just wanted to give you a little bit to get your motor running, get you thinking a little bit. But hopefully that'll help you guys with the inviting process. Anybody have any questions or anything? Thanks, Al.
Great comments in the chat, Hernan. You crushed it tonight, man. This was so good. I am so grateful that the recording has been running since the beginning. So we'll get this into the hands of our video editor extraordinaire. We've actually hired somebody to start to take care of that stuff for us. So the process should start to get better. But yeah, I'm really glad this was recorded, man. This was absolutely phenomenal tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you and everything you do to help, not just me, but everybody. You know, I'm reading your comment, Ryan. You went door to door to wash cars when you were 8 years old.
You know, yeah,
you're on my prospect list forever.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Al Franklin delivered papers at 10 years old. Oh my God, Jay. He sold his lunch at school to make money. That's hilarious. I'm Mexican, so my mom made me burritos and everybody else got bologna sandwiches. So everybody wanted my burrito. So I could call it. I could get their dessert and their sandwich for my burrito. That's funny. Look at Jonathan, says he bucked hay bales. Holy cow. My brother-in-law is an alfalfa farmer, and I tried working with him, and I couldn't hang. That's hard work. Chopped wood, fixed fences, weeded, and you were only 10 years old. Holy cow, Jonathan, that's crazy. So you're a go-getter, bub. So let's see, who else do we have in here? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Karen, that's a good point. Yeah, you know, not just overviews, but I mean, think about it, guys. Look at all of the support that we have on this team. You know, Al Franklin, Alan, all the people that really pitch in to work with you guys and help you guys to grow and build. You know, invite your people to everything that's going on, you know. let's see. Anybody else? Holy cow. Okay. Oh my, Jay. Jay woke up at 2:30 in the morning to get on this Zoom. Good for you, Jay. That's awesome, dude. Thank you. That's crazy. Jay's in the UK. Let's see, anything else? Oh, James Pendergrass washed cars and mowed grass at around 9 or 10 years old. So he could buy candy at 7-Eleven. Isn't that great? That's so awesome. We would do whatever we had to do to buy ice cream at Thrifty Drug and sit down where the magazines were and read Hot Rod magazines. That's crazy.
Double chocolate malted crunch.
There you go. Rebecca and Shane commented, worked at a restaurant to pay for tuition in high school? Wow. And at 7 years old, worked at grandma's restaurant bussing tables. Phenomenal. You're a go-getter for sure. That's awesome. Wow. All right, guys. Thanks for having me on, Ryan. Appreciate it. And thank you guys for being a part of this Zoom. And just do the work, guys. If you do the work and you're focused and you have a vision and you understand what you're doing before you do it, and you have a picture in your mind of what you want the outcome to be, and you work towards that, and do little bite-sized pieces, bite here, a bite here, a bite here, a bite here, and you're going to get it done. Just don't quit. The only loser is a quitter. Just don't quit, no matter what.